Hey there, this is Michael Everts with OfficeRND and Jamie Russo with Everything Coworking. We're so excited to bring you a new episode today on optimizing your coworking sales funnel. In this episode, we'll take a quick look at how you could build better sales funnels for your space and get your entire team on the same page. And with that, let's jump right into it. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about today is documenting your sales process. We'll get a little bit more in depth into the sales funnel, but before you can actually create a sales funnel, you need to make sure that all your processes for that sale are completely documented so that both you and new hires at your space know how to take prospects all the way from booking the tour to actually closing that deal. There's a lot of different places we've talked about before where you can store this, whether it's a simple Google Doc, a Trello board, or a tool like HubSpot. There's many ways that you can actually create this sales process. Anything else you want to add, Jamie, about documenting or creating your sales process before we jump into that funnel?
I would just say if you're new, it may still be a little bit fuzzy. That's okay. Be intentional, think through, and I think this video will help you think through what it looks like. And then just be prepared that you're going to test it and you're going to optimize it, but start collecting data because now that you're open, you'll be able to make decisions about what's actually happening in real life and not just how you, how you thought it was going to go.
Guesswork.
Yes.
Awesome. No, yeah, great point. And that leads us into the actual simplified coworking sales funnel.
Yeah, I love this.
Jamie, you're the expert on this. Take us away.
I will dive in. I love talking about the sales funnel. I love this simple visual, just in case you're not familiar with the sales funnel. And definitely show this to your team. We teach this in our Community Manager University program because lots of community managers just don't have that visual for what the framework looks like. And lots of community managers will not be familiar with like a sales process and doing follow-up and things like that. So you want to document and train.
Yep.
Absolutely. So if you think about the funnel, we start with a lot of potential members at the top who are coming to your website or you Google My Business listing. And then at the very bottom where they're actually converting to members, we're getting fewer folks who actually make it all the way through the bottom. So the sort of the game of the sales funnel is how many people can you get in the top that still come out of the bottom without losing them? So obviously you're not going to convert everybody. And we can talk about, industry. Mike, do you have a good sense of like conversions? I don't actually know that. I'd have to work through the math of the top of the funnel conversion. Lots of spaces will say like,
SaaS,
yeah.
For a SaaS business, it's a little bit higher because there's not as many physical steps. It's like 30% for a SaaS. I'd wager it's probably a little bit lower with co-working spaces because there is an element of the physical. Coming in for a physical tour is different than signing up for software. But yeah, that's probably on the high end for a co-working space, I'd even say.
Yeah. So, but you can start to benchmark a little bit for your own experience and then, join some groups and figure out what are the industry benchmarks and know your numbers, because the goal will be to improve those numbers over time. And we'll talk about this a little bit on further slides, but essentially people are going to find you, they're going to book a tour. You want to make sure you have the right technology in place to support that. Hopefully they're going to show up for a tour, which is actually harder than you think to get people to show up who book. And then you want to have a good tour follow-up process in place. And this is where I think is a big opportunity for a lot of independent operators. The bigger brands have this nailed and they have, usually a central team kind of managing that. But you want to get some simple processes and automations in place, which we'll talk a little bit about. And then you want to figure out, okay, what's the best way to actually get someone to sign up and then have your member onboarding process start from there.
Yep. No, that's a great overview. And we're going to spend a little bit more time going in depth, talking about each stage of the funnel so that you can optimize it and prepare your space for success. So the very first step, and arguably one of the most important, is that search and discovery phase. This is the phase where you are spending a lot of time making sure that your space is easily findable for prospects. If you're based out of Atlanta, for example, you want your prospect to be able to type Atlanta coworking or coworking Atlanta, and you want to, show up very, very top of that search results. That's something that's called search engine optimization. Your SEO rankings can be affected like through blog posts, a social post. There's a lot of things that can affect your SEO. but it's definitely something that you want to plan for, potentially work with an expert, a marketing expert here, so that you're more easily findable and searchable. All of this is going to bring you more leads. People generally don't go past the first or second or third Google page. They generally just stick right on the first page. So if you're not listed on the first page when you type in coworking in your city, you need to work to try to get up there on that first page so people can find you and get to the next step. Another thing that can help here is by signing up with aggregators and marketplaces. We've spoken about these and linked before. These are things like Liquid Space, Tally Market, and they vary depending on where you're based geographically. But this is another way that you can add your space to these aggregators. They typically take a commission, but at least they find you leads that you might not have found otherwise. And so there's a lot of benefits to signing up to these. Obviously, you can advertise your space through social media. People can find you through there and book tours. As well, eventually, we see a lot of spaces running paid ads. So that means you're actually paying Google so that your space will show up top whenever people type, Atlanta coworking or a specific term. Again, you want to try to cast a wide a net as possible here, because at every single step, the amount of prospects coming through that funnel are going to shrink, and so you want to start with the largest possible net. That's a quick overview of the search and discovery aspect of the coworking sales funnel. Jamie, anything that you'd add here, or do you think that was pretty thorough?
Mike, I think you covered it, and I think we probably could do an entire episode on this. I love the make your space findable.
We will.
Totally. Let's do it. Lot of focus on being findable, and then you can solve a lot of problems if the top of the funnel is strong.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next one, tour booking.
Okay, I love this one, and I spend a lot of time whenever I encounter an operator that does not have a Calendly or a HubSpot or an Acuity. If you make me fill out a form, I'm not filling out that form.
Yeah, it's a quick win.
Humans are lazy. So yeah, if you have people on your website or your Google business listing and you want them to book a tour, man, it has to be quick click, see the calendar, find the spot for me, calendar invite, all of those things. You really want to make this very user friendly. And there's really no excuse. Calendly is either free or like $20 a month. I mean, it's really inexpensive. So you absolutely have to do this, or else they might get lazy and go to somebody else's site where they can just book instantly.
Do it easily.
I think it sends a signal too, right? Like, oh, the space is not
that
really
you care about the user experience,
tech savvy, and they don't really get it. So it's easy to do these days with these simple plugins. And you can, some of them have direct integrations. You can make easy zaps into your email system. It's very simple.
Yep. And this one is so important to optimize. I mean, you spend so much time casting that net with the discovery portion. The last thing is you want for people to get to your website and find you and then have a bad experience signing up. So it's a really easy one to capitalize on. You should have that book tour button easily visible on your homepage and your top bar, wherever in the header.
Yes.
But yeah, it should be everywhere. But that is, and we did a whole episode on tour booking last week. But this is one that, you should be using some sort of tour booking scheduler. We've gone over a lot of those, but that's another big aspect of catching that wide net that you cast in the discovery phase. So
totally
after
good point. We did do an episode on the tech stack. So I'm sure we talked about this there. That would be a good one to go back to or watch if you haven't watched it yet.
Yep. And once they make that tour, it's important that you include information about how to find your space. If they can't just park and walk up, they have to go up a building, stairs or whatnot. Make sure it's clear on the tour so that they can actually get to the next step of the funnel. Otherwise, they'll drop off and it will be someone that you lost. And so now that they've done the tour, yes, they will show up frustrated. So after they actually book the tour and find your space, the next step is the tour walkthrough. We've discussed it before, but it's so important that you have a pre-planned tour route that you and your staff follows every time. You want to have kind of script or bullet points so that you can rattle off some of the most important aspects of your space. Talk about the highlights, whether it's your conference rooms or your really nice private offices, you need to understand, those main benefits and be able to sell them to people that are coming in looking for those specific products. And then finally, this is one that I always mention, but I love take me homes, whether it's a brochure or a business card or something, make sure that people are walking out of your space with something that's in their pocket or bag, so that they can always find you and see pictures or contact information of your beautiful space later. I know we covered this a lot on the last episode, Jamie. Anything else you want to add about the tour walkthrough and getting them to that next stage of the
Yeah.
funnel?
I think, it's super important. I would just say, hey, if you didn't watch the tour video, definitely go through this. And again, it's all about being intentional and helping your potential members see that, like, this is going to be a great experience. These people have it all together. I don't have to think about a lot of things. Nothing's confusing. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I can roll in, join, get some work done. So,
Yep. So great. So they've gone through the tour. The next step that's super important to actually getting them to sign up is your tour follow-up. These are the sales email sequences that are sent after the tour. When I ran my space, we used HubSpot, and HubSpot allows you to pre-build email follow-up sequences. So as an operator, I created a different sequence for each product, one for meeting rooms, one for private offices, one for open space, and essentially set up my community managers so as soon as the tour was done, they could start that email follow-up sequence. This needs to happen the same day, ideally the same hour after that person leaves. You should be top of mind, and they should have an easy way to get back, review your space, review your pricing, and have access to that from their email. Like I just mentioned, you want to personalize the offer. So you shouldn't send someone that's coming in looking for meeting room space information, about private office. Obviously, they might be interested in that, but you should really tailor the emails and personalize them based on the products that they're looking for. Even potentially offer them some sort of discount for signing up that day. And that comes to my final point, which is make it easy to sign up from your emails. Whether you're sending them a direct link to that membership or you're sending them a contract shortly after, you want to make it really, really easily so that they can get to that next step and start signing up from your emails. That's a quick look of tour follow-up emails. There's a lot of good information online about how you can send, follow-up emails that convert. But this is definitely something that you want to spend some time on so that people can easily sign up at your space.
this is where the independent operator tends to be a little squishy on their process because they're not sure how much follow-up to do, what to say. So I love what you shared about having customized follow-up email sequences that were pretty much automated for your different product types. The national brands will follow up with you until you say no. So
Yeah, they
I
will.
always say people need to be project managed. If I don't say yes right away, that might be because I got busy. I'm distracted. I got something going on with my kid. I'm busy, with my job. So don't give up on people until you really feel like you should. And you'll figure out what sort of your protocol is for that. But definitely automate it. Definitely train your staff on how to run that automation because they won't really know, kind of how to manage this either. And again, you can add follow up, you can remove follow up, but just start with something and see how it's working.
Yep.
Get it in place, but probably do more follow up than what feels comfortable because
Yeah.
again, humans are easily distracted and they need to be project managed. So definitely don't give up. And we talk about this in other marketing videos, but put them into your nurture sequence at some point so that you still stay top of mind, because if it's not today, it might be someday. It's not necessarily never.
Later in the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. In our final slide, sign up and onboarding.
Yeah, this is, still kind of transitioning from sales funnel to new member onboarding, which is also critical because you want to make a really great first impression. Once remove sign up friction, make sure that you're using a space management platform that makes it really easy to get that agreement signed, get their plan in place, get them to pay. Yeah, all digital, all super easy so that they can just done and
Yeah.
get in and start working. And then, yeah, focus on what it looks like to onboard a new member, which can be some of where your secret sauce comes in, because you want to make, that first, 30 days at least, like really special for the member, get them introduced to folks, make sure they have everything they need. And yeah, we've talked about that in other videos as well.
Yeah.
Mike, anything you want to add about kind of tech stack here to support the sign up and onboarding?
No, I agree with you. It should be both easy for you as an operator to build and set up that contract, and easy for them as a prospect to sign and start that contract. Um, and finally, as it comes to the onboarding, some people don't always consider this part of the sales process, but consider this. If you spend all this time and effort and money on a sales process, get someone to the end and close them, and then provide them a really, really bad onboarding experience that first week, they're going to churn pretty quick. Obviously, if you have a long-term contract in place, it's a little different there. But regardless, you don't want to start that relationship off bad. And so all that work will go to nothing if they quit in a month. So the onboarding process, the procedure, the welcoming them to your space is such an important part of the closing. And it's something you really need to take care to do correctly. Otherwise, they'll go through the whole flow and they'll leave.
Yeah, I love
But
that.
yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, so this was a quick look at the co-working sales funnel. We have a lot of different videos that cover individual steps in this, but this is a good holistic view at how you can create one of these and build it for your space. Our next episode that we're focusing on actually will help you with the very first step of this. That's marketing strategies for your co-working space. We're going to talk a little bit about some strategies you can employ to widen that initial net and get even more prospects coming down your sales funnel. With that being said, again, I'm Mike. This is Jamie. And thank you so much for checking out the latest episode of Flex Academy. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.